So I went into court and I said to the judge, I just want visitation. And she said she'd never seen an adult child come into court, ask for visitation, and not want a conservatorship. So I withdrew the petition for over the estate, and I said, please give conservatorship to his wife. Can you still let me in to see my dad to say goodbye before he passed away? And she did. She granted it. And in that time, I asked my probate attorney then, can we draft a Peter Falk bill that streamlines this process and allows a path for visitation without spending $100,000 to go to court and to fight for something that is so expensive to do.
Columbo's unforgettable detective, brought to life by the one and only Peter Falk, captured hearts on screen. Yet behind the iconic persona lay a painful family saga. While millions reveled in the wit and charm of Lieutenant Columbo, Peter Falk's later years were clouded by loss, isolation, and a bitter legal fight. As his health declined, his daughter Catherine found herself locked in a contentious struggle against a system meant to protect her father, a system where his second wife, an appointed conservator, Peter Falk, barred her from being with him during his most vulnerable moments. Catherine's determined challenge not only exposed deep familial rifts, but also ignited the creation of Peter Falk's Law, a reform ensuring that no incapacitated person is cut off from the comforting presence of love. My dad, was basically incapacitated. He had Alzheimer's disease. He had just gone through hip surgery replacement, and nobody could access my dad. I was just devastated because we were supposed to go out with him on Father's Day, and we couldn't find him. We couldn't locate him. And so I immediately called a probate attorney, and I went into court right away, and I talked to the judge. Peter Falk's dazzling career in film and television often cast a long shadow over the personal trials that he and his family endured, especially in the latter part of his life. Known for his unorthodox methods on screen, Falk became a household name as Lieutenant Columbo, a detective who used his unassuming nature and relentless questioning to solve the most perplexing cases. Off-camera, however, the narrative took on a much darker hue. Catherine Falk, his daughter, recalls a childhood filled with laughter, shared secrets, and tender moments that painted a picture of a caring, if eccentric, father. But these memories were soon overshadowed by the deep pain of being kept from the man she loved the most. When Falk's health began to decline, complications arose, not solely from the ravages of Alzheimer's disease and pneumonia, but from a family rift that soon developed into a bitter legal battle. After his diagnosis and subsequent decline, his stepmother, Peter Falk, assumed conservatorship over his care. After his diagnosis and subsequent decline, her stepmother, Peter Falk, assumed conservatorship over Peter's care. Although her appointment was intended to protect Peter Falk, instead it became the catalyst for isolation. Catherine was only allowed sporadic visits in carefully arranged settings, a decision that left her feeling both excluded and powerless. The legal system designed to safeguard the well-being of an incapacitated person, ironically ended up enforcing a rigid structure that prioritized procedure over personal connection. Courtrooms became arenas where the profound human need for familiar warmth was treated as a secondary concern to legal formalities. As the conservatorship proceedings unfolded, Catherine's anguish transformed into activism. She became the unlikely champion for a cause that extended far beyond her personal grievance, a movement that eventually led to significant legislative reform. In courtrooms filled with tense silences and meticulous legal arguments, every denied visitation and every withheld update deepened an already gaping wound. Catherine's narrative resonated with many who had experienced similar bureaucratic indifference during times of deep personal crisis, making her battle both an emblem of individual courage and a rallying cry for systemic change. And he was going in for hip replacement surgery, which I knew possibly that the anesthesia was going to exacerbate his Alzheimer's or his dementia. So when he came out of surgery, he also disappeared. And so his second wife turned off his phone. We couldn't contact him. So months went by like this, and I was really worried because that wasn't my dad's behavior in the past. And so I hired an attorney. I didn't know what to do. And so he said, the only way you're going to see your father ever again is if you go to probate court under that guise and you ask for visitation rights. And I said, well, I don't want conservatorship. They said, this is the only way to go do this. From the spark of Catherine Falk's initial legal challenge to the eventual passage of reformative legislation, the case of Peter Falk became a landmark in guardianship law. Catherine's determination to secure every possible moment with her father transformed into a broader struggle for reform, exposing the inadequacies of an outdated conservatorship framework. The legal battle was not a mere dispute over visitation rights. It was an intense confrontation between cold legal procedures and the desperate warmth of familial love. In the courtroom, the human element of grief was reduced to legal arguments about the rights of a guardian versus those of an adult child. Catherine vividly recalls the sterile atmosphere of the courtrooms where decisions about her father's well-being were made, rooms where the sound of gavels struck a note against her muffled sobs. Every hearing was a reminder of the bureaucratic processes that, while intended to protect, often ended up sidelining the very essence of what it means to be a family. Her legal arguments centered on whether the appointed conservator had the authority to restrict familial contact, and whether the rules in place adequately reflected the needs of an aging, incapacitated person. The proceedings underscored a critical flaw in the system that the legal apparatus, in its pursuit of order and control, could sometimes do more harm than good by isolating people from their most trusted relationships. The case eventually prompted legal experts, lawmakers, and advocates for elder rights to take a hard look at the rules governing conservatorship and guardianship. Catherine's story helped to shine a light on the fact that the voices of adult children, those who often serve as the emotional anchors for the incapacitated, were frequently silenced by decisions made behind closed courtroom doors. As the case gained media attention and public sympathy, it catalyzed a legislative response that sought to rebalance the scales between oversight and the humane need for family interaction. Peter Falk's law emerged as a direct response to these issues. It placed stricter guidelines on conservators to ensure they provide timely notification about critical changes in a person's condition, including hospital transfers and even details surrounding death. The law aimed to curtail the arbitrary isolation that had characterized so many conservatorship cases, ensuring that emotional and relationship needs were no longer sidelined by strict legal procedures. This legislative victory was a profound shift, a transition from a system dominated by impersonal legal mandates to one that recognized the fundamental right to remain connected with family during life's most challenging moments. And we've heard other cases of, we heard about a dispute recently with B.B. King and also Joni Mitchell. There's been questions about that. When you look at this, you think Nick and Mickey Rooney's children too. The impact of Peter Falk's final years reached far beyond the boundaries of entertainment. It sparked a nationwide dialogue about the ethics of conservatorship and the rights of families to maintain contact with their loved ones during times of crisis. In the wake of his passing, Catherine Falk's tireless battle became a symbol of what happens when the system designed to protect instead isolates. The emotional toll was immense. Not only did it force a daughter to witness the slow deterioration of a once vibrant man, but it also left an indelible mark on countless families grappling with similar issues. Her fight highlighted that the human need for connection does not diminish even as medical and legal issues become overwhelming. The painful isolation experienced by Peter Falk in his final days was not an isolated incident, but part of a disturbing pattern affecting many elderly people at line. She picked up the phone and said, "He never wants to speak to you again." Amid the legal debates and legislative triumphs, the most heartrending aspect of Peter Falk's story remains the profound personal toll it took on his family. Beyond headlines and court rulings lies a narrative of deep distress, illustrating how public life can exacerbate private pain. For Catherine Falk, the legal battle was not just about visitation rights. It was about reclaiming her father's memory as a loving man, not merely a fading icon, restricted by legal constraints. Every moment Catherine was denied access to her father deepened the anguish for both him and those who cherished him beyond his celebrity persona. Memories of shared jokes and family traditions starkly contrasted with the sterile isolation enforced by conservatorship laws. The legal system's focus on procedure over personal connection stripped away not only physical contact, but also the emotional support essential for family bonds. Catherine's journey was marked by intense grief and frustration. Every denied visit compounded her sorrow, highlighting how the legal system often fails to accommodate the personal nature of family relationships. The painful memories of isolation during Peter Falk's final days underscore the urgent need for reform. Today, Peter Falk's law stands as a testament to the importance of honoring family bonds, ensuring no one's ever left alone in their most vulnerable moments. Now it's time to hear from you. How can we best balance the need for legal oversight while ensuring family can see their loved ones? Let us know in the comments section below.